Hi, Richard Dodson here, and I'm excited that you've tuned in to learn something about what I'm doing with up placement and something I call the career canvas. If you know me, which you probably do if you're watching this, then you know I wrote this book with Nancy Burke last year, Power Your Career, The Art of Tactful Self-Promotion at Work. What you may not know is that it won all these awards last year as the best career book of the year, so we're excited about that. But the other thing that I've been focused on this year is something I call the career canvas. I'm finding it to be really helpful for people who are kind of struggling with how to ground and manage their career from day to day, week to week, month to month. And I'm going to walk you through how to use this in the context, in particular, of what I'm calling up placement. You may know I've worked in outplacement for years, which is helping people who leave organizations figure out what they want to do and how they're going to get to their next role. Up placement is more for folks who are aware that it's a great time for people to consider making a change, that the market's tight, talent is at a premium, and now is the time to make a move, either to enhance one's current job, move up in an organization, move over to a new role or into a new organization, or explore consulting, or look at getting on board positions, whatever it is you want to do career-wise. A time right now is it's a good time to take action. If you know me at all, you know that I believe this, that you can find work that is fulfilling and for which you're recognized and rewarded. What I've identified is there are obstacles that get in the way for people, but they're typically not a lack of skill or ability. They're usually a lack of focus and visibility. So the three things that stand out for me is people don't know what they want to stand for. And so it's hard to communicate your brand and have other people communicate that if you aren't clear what you want to stand for. The second is that people aren't known by the right people for the right things. So first, people need to know you exist, and then they need to know what it is you bring to the party. And finally, people don't have a plan about how to move forward. So they do something on LinkedIn, they may do a blog post, but they really don't have a plan for what they're trying to do and how they're going to get there. The thing I've started to use to help people through this and kind of ground their planning is something I call the career canvas. Planning tool. It's adapted from the Lean Startup, and it really streamlines the planning process and accelerates momentum toward goals. So I'm going to walk you through the career canvas and hope that you can try it out and find out if it's useful for you. A quick bit of history on where this comes from. Initially, there was a book called The Business Model Generation, and it's a great book, beautiful visually. But one of the key outcomes of that book is this one-page business model canvas. And its idea was you can get everything on one page, discern it down so you can see what your business model is, and you can share that with others. This is really useful, especially for ongoing businesses. But there are a couple of folks, Eric Ries, who wrote The Lean Startup, and then Ash Moira, who wrote Running Lean, who wanted to apply this idea to more continuous innovation, to iterative product development, and how do you help make sure a startup is moving in the right direction. And they came up with a lean business model canvas, which is similar to the business model canvas, but it's really focused on entrepreneurism. What I've done is taken and adapted that idea to the career canvas. And what do you need to be looking at? A one-page view that helps you kind of own your career strategy. So this is what I've come up with, and I hope you give it a try. There are two sides to this. There's you, and there's the marketplace. So focused on the you side, we start with your strengths and your skills. So what are you really good at, and what are your strengths you bring to the party? There is a great tool, assessment tool called the VIA Character Strengths Survey. I'll make sure you have a link to that. That can help you identify your strengths. There's lots of ways to figure out what your skills are. But the idea here is that you take your skills and your strengths, and then you need to say, what have I done? What are the projects, examples, proofs that I've used those skills to make a difference? And so what goes in the projects or proofs area will be your accomplishments, the things that you'd end up putting on your resume. And then also any other proof, a model you've developed, a white paper, an article, a blog post, a video, an online course, an ebook, whatever it is that you've created that demonstrates that you're able to use your skills and strengths to make a difference. On the marketplace side, we start over here with allies. So looking at who are your allies that can help support you, who can give you feedback on your marketing plan, give you perspective, and introduce you to prospects. So this prospects box is really who are the companies and decision makers that you need to speak with or connect with who can give you feedback on what the needs in the marketplace are. What are the problems that need to be solved? And this is critical to be able to identify what the needs are so that you can position yourself and make sure you've got the right proof that shows you can address those needs. So those of you who are discerning will see there are two other boxes on this chart that I haven't talked about. One is your goal. What goal are you after is going to drive what content you put on much of this canvas. So if your goal is to move up in your organization, then the prospects are going to be different than if you want to move out of the organization into a new role. If you're looking for a board position, then you're going to have to meet different people, different prospects that can give you a sense of what the needs are on a board, or a board in general or a board in particular that you can use to position. And then you can look at what are the proofs you need to make sure you can show that you can meet those needs. So the goal will drive differences here, and you don't need a big specific goal. You need something that you can use as a starting place to start filling out the canvas. You can always go back and polish and refine the goal. That's the idea of this, is that it's iterative. You start with what you know and then you build on it. The last box here is your value proposition, and that's really the communication tool, your core communication tool that you use to ground your communication on your resume, on your LinkedIn, on anything else that you're putting out there in your conversations, your ability to articulate what difference you make. It's like your brand promise. How do you differentiate yourself and demonstrate that you can create the outcomes and resolve the problems that you've identified in the market? So that's the canvas. What I'd encourage you to do is just take 20 to 30 minutes, sit down and just fill in every box. Whatever you currently believe you know about the box, fill it in with some key ideas. And if you don't have something to put in a box, that's clearly an area that you're going to need to focus on. That's where there's risk. If you don't know who your prospects are, then we better figure that out. If you don't have a goal, let's start there. If you don't have the proof you need to prove that you can meet the needs, well, what proof can you develop that can demonstrate that? So there's lots you can do with this, but the first step is just take a snapshot of where you are right now, what your thinking is right now, and I believe by the time you're done, half an hour, you will have a sense of where you need to focus and what your next steps might be. So if you'd like a copy of the Career Canvas, I will send it to you. Just send me an email or reach out through LinkedIn. You can draw it yourself on a piece of paper, but I'm happy to send you a copy if you'd like to have one. The other resource I mentioned was the VIA Institute Survey on Character Strengths. Here's a link. I'll put it near this video as well. And then finally, on our website, tactfulselfpromotion.com, there's free downloadable resources. There's a networking plan for a year. There's a fast start guide to networking that if you're really focused on that aspect of allies and prospects and identifying needs, it's a really good tool to help you build out your networking strategy. So I encourage you to do that. And of course, the book has a lot of tactics in there that you can use to kind of work with. But this canvas, I think, is really the ground that you can go back to. You can kind of iterative design. Every week you can go back and check it and tweak it and change it and see where you are at any given time. So I hope that this is helpful to you, and I would love to hear from you if you can give this a try and let me know how it goes. You can leave a note below or send me an email. And again, I hope that this helps you build some momentum in your career. Thanks for tuning in.